It's always like this, I don't know. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yes, we can hear.
Now okay?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Good. Okay, anybody will like to start with some sharing? Chapter 9. Who will like to start? Anybody has like prepared something or at least read?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yes, please.
So I read through the chapter, Prabhuji, until the 15th verse. So the first verse itself, it started about read why we should read, and like the processes, the 9 different activities that we should do: the hearing, chanting, remembering, serving, worshipping, praying, obeying, maintaining friendship, and surrendering everything. So they start by telling you like why you should start reading, like why we should be reading, reading or hearing process is the main thing. We hear about Srimad Bhagavatam, and even throughout the chapter I found that Prabhupada was telling like how we can differentiate between people who are truly Krishna conscious and those who mock at Krishna, and those who are actually scholars and other people who are envious of Krishna. So the love for the Lord arises from hearing his glories via the Srimad Bhagavatam and trying to engage oneself in devotional service. So that's the first thing that was like very striking. And Krishna decides to disclose what he calls as the Raja Vidya, or like the king of education, to Arjuna, because he has this intimate relationship with Krishna, and Krishna thinks he is ready to receive the knowledge. And he says like this is the purest, this knowledge is the purest form of all activities. So that's a very strong statement that Krishna makes in this particular verse. And he says that the execution of devotional service is so perfect that one can perceive the results directly. So he's saying like when you chant the holy name, when you chant the Mahamantra without any offenses, you can feel some transcendental pleasure and become very quickly purified from all material contamination. So this is a very beautiful thing to like tell us, so that like we, instead of going through all the big things, we can like Prabhupada says, chant and Hare Krishna and be happy. So that was one thing that I would like to share here. And he says that the process of devotional service is a very happy one, because you get to hear the glories of the Lord. It's not everything brings joy. And you can attend lectures. He says you can attend philosophical lectures on transcendental knowledge. Simply by sitting, you can learn. And then he says you can eat the remnants of the food offered to God. They are very delicious and nice. And in every state, devotional service, he says, is joyful. And the Lord also says, keep it simple, like patram pushpam phalam toyam. He's ready to accept anything from the devotee, regardless of their social position and regardless of what they offer. If they offer it with love, he is ready to accept anything from them. And he says like this devotional service is eternally existing. Like unlike the Mayavadis who say that if you become liberated, you become one with God, that's not at all true. He is different, you're different. You can always engage yourself in serving him. You are always, the jiva is always subservient to the Paramatma. So that is also one wonderful thing that Prabhupada has shared here. And Prabhupada says when one's heart is cleared of all nonsense, then one can understand what God is. So like we should just try to surrender ourselves. And further on, he says that the faithless cannot accomplish this process of devotional service. Some people just keep speculating, even though they assume themselves to be in Krishna consciousness. He even puts this sentence in some later verse that comes, that some people just assume they are Krishna conscious and commit all kinds of offenses and speculation. And this part where we commonly hear, when you give water to the root of the tree, it satisfies all the branches, twigs, and leaves. And by supplying food to the stomach, you satisfy all the senses. Similarly, if we engage ourselves in this transcendental service of the Lord, you can satisfy all the demigods and all other living entities. There is no need to go and do all the rituals and everything, provided we are completely, purely surrendered to Krishna. So, and he says like there are three classes of faith: first class, second class, and third class. So, and he goes on to describe that in detail. And sometimes we feel, I feel that like I'm not even in the third class, like way down than that. But he says faith is very important to discharge devotional service, be it whatever it may be. But we need some kind of proper faith to render service. And
Right.
then Krishna talks about how he is like the material nature, everything is all his energy, but then he is not a part of it. And people who consider his material body, I mean his body, to be equivalent to the material body, then they are actually rascals. And whatever smriti shruti, they should be driven out. And the literature says that we should actually purify ourselves in the Ganges when we see such that kind of a person's face. And so it's like all the overall picture that I got here is faith, and what you consider and your level of surrender is what Krishna is looking for. He's not looking for expertise like in scholarly way. He just wants love, not transactional data or transactional exchange of give and take. He wants only pure love. That's all he's looking for. That's my thing, Prabhuji. Thank you for patiently listening, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much, Mataji. Nice summary and realization of the overall chapter, what actually Krishna is trying to tell us, right? Thank you very much, Mataji. Any additions, subtractions? Anybody would like to add? Any point, simple point also fine, no problem.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. I noted some points. Thank you, Mataji. Nicely she covered that from verse 1 to 15. Actually, this ninth chapter is very important because it's Krishna is telling the most confidential knowledge he is giving. So we have to carefully study these chapters. And the knowledge is, I mean, the characteristic of knowledge I noted. What is the knowledge? First of all, to get the knowledge, we have to be non-envious. So Arjuna was non-envious and he is a best friend. So he gave. So means we have to have a first faith to understand this knowledge. This knowledge, nothing but it's a devotional service only. Also, if we do this devotional service, how we can understand this knowledge? By doing devotional service. That is, Mataji also told that 9 types of activities. It's not just a book study. It's you can get the knowledge. Krishna is giving knowledge by the 9 types of devotional service. We can understand Krishna. I mean, because also when we do this knowledge, what it does, devotional service, it purifies, our sins are destroyed. Also, when like a liberated soul, they can see their self-consciousness. I mean, their realization, they can get it. Also, for example, we no need to do the ritual sacrifice those things. For example, the Narada Muni didn't do any rituals. He was a maid servant, the son. So just following the sadhus, hearing from them and chanting and eating the remnant food, he got this knowledge. So that is one thing I understood. And also this is not like like a yogis, they avoid everything, they detached from it, everything. It is not like that. This is like a happily we can perform the devotional services, that the activity we perform through activity. So it gives happiness means we won't feel the happiness. We are, they are like elevated devotees. Krishna is Govinda, right? He gives sense of happiness. It's not the material happiness. That sense, that spiritual senses may be awakens. That happiness may become. My understanding that not our material, this happiness. Now we may be happy doing the puja kirtan. That is beyond that. That Krishna may be telling that knowledge gives that happiness. And also this is eternal, this knowledge is, because after we leave the body, we liberated means we can go to spiritual world and continue the service to Krishna. That is understood also. Yeah, this is what I understood about the knowledge. What's the important of the characteristic of this knowledge? The most important thing to understand, approach this knowledge is faith is important. Also like a liberated kind of souls, only they can understand the knowledge. We have to do the like sadhana bhakti. Otherwise Krishna, he's telling the 5th, 6th verses and all, he's everywhere, like a wind is everywhere in the sky. We can see his presence everywhere, but now we won't feel he's within us also. We won't feel. If we feel, we chant properly, he's watching all the time, but he's watching means we will realize. So he's everywhere, we are not able to see. Means the knowledge we have to use what he is giving. The knowledge we have to start using it. Means devotional service we have to practice. Hearing first is most important, is a hearing process. That's what I understood, Prabhuji. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much. Nice additions, Mataji. I think you focused on the first 15 verses more, right? What Krishna is trying to tell these first verses. Yes, that's very true.
Thank you, Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much. Hariman Mataji, you want to add something?
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Thank you, Mataji. They both have already covered everything. I'm just as per my understanding, whatever I read, I'm just telling. So, like from in the 9th chapter, it is mentioned that that hearing importance of hearing is mentioned. So Krishna is mentioning and giving one of the characteristics of devotee, that is because Arjun is never envious of him, so he's giving the most confidential knowledge to him. So this is one of the characteristics by which he shall be relieved of the material miseries. And then even in the purport, Srila Prabhupada says that Lord understands the mentality and sincerity of a devotee, and therefore he gives the intelligence to understand the signs of him in the association of devotees. So association of devotees is also very important. It's mentioned in the purport. Then one second. Then in the in purport of the first verse, Srila Prabhupada is mentioning he's giving in the first chapter, it's kind of an introduction of Bhagavad Gita. Then second and third is this spiritual knowledge. It's describing about the spiritual knowledge, so it's a confidential thing. Then in the 7th and 8th chapter, it's related to devotional service, so it's more confidential. And then the 9th chapter is most confidential because it deals with the unalloyed pure devotion. So so in the first verse, this I feel is I just noted down this points from the purport. Then in the second verse, Krishna is mentioning that this knowledge is the king of education and is the most secret of all secret. Srila Prabhupada mentions that it is the essence of all doctrines and philosophies. explained before. So then in from chapter 2 itself, Krishna is explaining about the soul, like how soul regarding the soul, how soul is present in our body and it's not different from the body. So many people, like in the purport, Srila Prabhupada is mentioning that many people think that when we die, soul is also like um it's inactive, like, but it is active. So it's like Prabhupada is mentioning that how can the soul, which is so active within this body, be inactive after being liberated from the body? It is always active. It is, if it is eternal, then it is eternally active, and its activities in the spiritual kingdom are the most confidential part of spiritual knowledge. So this part I really like the point, and therefore this chapter is the most confidential thing, because it's talking about the spirit soul. Then in 9.3, Krishna is mentioning about the faithful person. Like without being faithful, one cannot attend Krishna, and they will keep returning to the path of birth and death of this material world. And in this, Aarti Mataji already explained that in the purport, Srila Prabhupada is mentioning about the three kinds of devotees. So the third class devotees generally fall down, but the second class and the first class, they don't fall. And if they get the association, the third class devotees, if they get the association, if they are regular in it, then they convert into themselves into the second class devotees. And then in 9.4, Krishna is mentioning that although he is all pervading, everywhere present, he is not conceivable by material senses. Although we cannot see him, everything is resting on him. So he is giving, Prabhupada is giving the example of sunshine. Sunshine, wherein like sunshine is spread all over the universe, and the energy of the Lord is spread all over the creation, and everything is resting in that energy. So by sunshine example, Krishna is Prabhupada is explaining about this verse. Then again in like until 9.6, same thing, like Krishna's opulence is mentioned. Then in 9.7, how Krishna is creating, maintaining, and destroying everything, and it's completely dependent on Krishna's will. Then even in 9.7 and 9.8, by Krishna's will, everything is working, it's mentioned. Then in 9.9, Krishna is mentioning that he's not attached to anything and no work can bind him. He's neutral. So in that, Prabhupada is giving the example of High Court judge, wherein he gave, wherein he tells like he's giving punishment, like I mean, somebody is hanging, somebody is getting like any kind of punishment he's giving, but he is neutral. He is not attached to anything. He is just giving his verdict. So Prabhupada is giving the example of High Court judge. Then in 9.10, again under the direction of Supreme Lord, his material energy is working. Then in 9.11, Krishna is mentioning that those who are fool, they deride him when he descend in the human form, because many times it happens that when Krishna does everything like a normal person, so it's very difficult for a person to see that he's doing like everything, he's doing everything like us. Then how he can be a god? But a devotee, he knows that Krishna is supreme personality of Godhead, and he is like completely because he is pure, he completely surrenders unto him and engage in Krishna consciousness activities. Then in 9.12, he's mentioning those who are bewildered are attracted by demoniac and atheistic views. Then in 9.13, Krishna is mentioning, but those who are not deluded, he's under the protection of divine nature and are fully engaged in discharging devotional service. So Yeah, the symptoms are first sign of Mahatma is given. So in this, Prabhupada is mentioning about the Mahatma. Who is Mahatma? So the first sign of Mahatma is that he is already situated in the divine nature. He's under the protection of divine nature, and he is not under the control of material nature. Since soul is a marginal potency, so when he surrenders unto Krishna, he is freed from the control of the material nature and is put under the guidance of spiritual nature. So, as in the previous chapters, Krishna's energy was mentioned. So, as we soul, we are in the marginal potency. So, we can either go in the material nature or in the spiritual nature. So, if we choose to, uh, like what we say, to serve Krishna, then we are under the guidance of spiritual nature. So, then in 9.14, Krishna is mentioning that these devotees are always engaged in chanting his glories and worship him with great devotion. So the symptoms he is giving, like who is Mahatma? So he chants his glories, like he is endeavoring with great determination. He bows down, so, and in this way, he's worshipping him. And Mahatma is always attached to Krishna. He's not attached to any impersonal feature. He's only attached to Krishna, and he only wants to do Krishna conscious activities. He doesn't go anywhere else. He doesn't like his universal form or four-handed form as well. He just like two-hand Krishna's form. So this is my understanding, Proji. And in 9.14, 9.15, he's mentioning about the person like impersonal feature of the Supreme Lord. So, uh, who engage in sacrifice by the cultivation of knowledge, worship the Supreme Lord as the one without a second, as diverse in many and in the universal form. So, this is my understanding. Thank you, Proji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, very nice. Thank you very much. Yeah, so I don't know what I have to speak now. What I share, I don't know. Because I think most of the points are covered, like what this chapter is, right? But let me, when I read, okay, this is the summary, right, of 34 verses. Breakup 1 to 3, Krishna glorifies the knowledge. So one point here is in the 7th chapter, Krishna told about knowledge of Supreme. 8th chapter, he told about the how to attain, right? So, and now in this chapter, he is talking about, like you all mentioned, he's talking about the Keval Bhakti or pure Bhakti. Okay, so when here, like Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur mentions, like when the word knowledge is used in this chapter, it generally points to Keval Bhakti. So what we say Keval Bhakti is, of course, Krishna's Bhakti, but without any mixture of Jnana or Karma. Right? So that is what Krishna is telling in this chapter about the Keval Bhakti. So he tells the other types of Bhakti like Karma Mishra Bhakti and all, but then at the end he glorifies that the Keval Bhakti and person devotee who is doing this, how he does that Bhakti. Right, Mataji was saying, like very simple, Patram Pushpam. So that is Keval Bhakti. So what we call pure devotional service. Okay? So Keval Bhakti word I like because Keval means only. So only Bhakti, nothing else, no Gyan, nothing. But still, if we see that 7th chapter had the knowledge about the material world and spiritual world, how Krishna is pervading both. Right? And in this chapter, also Krishna is giving the knowledge about his powers. So he told material world and everything, I pervade everything underwards under me. But then now in this chapter, he is specifically or more in detail talking about the creation and destruction and how jivas are created. What they are doing, everything is in me, right? So the cause of all causes, that aspect is putting forward. Right? So, like from the first verse only, right, he's talking about the Keval Bhakti. Um, like we saw in the previous chapters, like we have to do Nishkam Karma Yoga, so our heart gets purified, and then we worship God and all, right? So worship Krishna or Vishnu. But Keval Bhakti does not need that. You can directly worship Krishna, nothing else. And for that, of course, you need knowledge. So this knowledge also, that when we try to understand the powers of the Lord, that is also bhakti part. Okay, it does not become knowledge because we are trying to understand Krishna and his powers. So it is bhakti. So in this chapter, though Krishna tells his powers of creation and existence, right, but still non-existence. So inconceivable powers, right? So that is the supreme thing he's telling, right? So he creates everything, but still he's not in anything. So that aspect is very clearly shown in this chapter, right? And yeah, of course, like I think you also mentioned this. Chapter 2, 3, 4 gives the knowledge of soul, right? And how this transcendental knowledge was Krishna tries to give this knowledge time to time, and then Nishkam Karma Yoga. So this is good, secret knowledge. Why it is secret? Because general people don't know this about the existence of soul and all these things, right? And then 7 and 8 is more secret because it starts talking about bhakti and Bhagwan. So it becomes more secret. And Keval Bhakti in this chapter is Guhyatama, is the most secret. That if you do Keval Bhakti, you attain the highest goal. So like you all mentioned, the main qualification is no envy. And no envy means what? We are not selfish. When we are selfish, we have envy of for others. Right? So it's not only envy about Krishna. Of course, the people who don't accept Krishna, that is also a type of envy because we don't accept Krishna's powers and all. But envy towards the devotees of Krishna. If somebody has something, why I don't have, why they have, why I don't have, all these things is what envy. So in that stage, as Krishna explains in this chapter, it is very difficult to do Keval Bhakti, the pure devotional service. It becomes Karma Mishra or Gyan Mishra Bhakti if you are envious. But Arjuna is saying, Arjuna, you are not envious, so I will tell you this. So the bhakti, the Keval Bhakti is for non-envious people. And that means what? Very simple people. Then second verse gives the characteristics of bhakti. Right? It's pure bhakti, right? Because the word used is avyayam, eternal, beyond the modes. That's word is used, right? So it is pure bhakti, keval bhakti, not um, karma mishra bhakti or gyan mishra bhakti. And then there is word used is susukham. Uh, Gyan is difficult, karma is difficult because your heart is not pure, so you get attached. Mm. Ashtanga is more difficult to control the senses and all. But Krishna says bhakti is simple because you don't have to do all these things. You directly start doing bhakti. And how they do it, Krishna explains in next verses, right? But um, if we see like if it is easy, why everybody don't do it? Right? If it is easy, why people do gyan, why people do karma, why ashtanga? So the main reason or main qualification is, like you all mentioned, is faith. If you don't have faith, faith on what? Faith on the pure bhakti process. That by doing the pure bhakti, you can attain the supreme goal. This sentence or this belief, if they don't trust it, that is no faith on bhakti. So they try to do gyan and they try to do some other practices. But if you have complete faith, means you understand by that doing this bhakti I am going to attain the Supreme. This is what is required. And if this is not there, then it is a problem. So then you do karma or you do Gyan Mishra Bhakti, but then still you have to uh, transmigrate or change the bodies, right? So you can become, sorry, demigod or a demon. So that continues. And then Krishna starts telling about his powers. And the powers that he's telling here is how he created all jivas, how all jivas exist. I maintain them. Krishna is telling, I maintain them. And so Krishna is maintaining everyone. How is maintaining? Many things, by providing what is required for living, what is required for maintenance. That he is providing. Right? That this is the faith we should have, right? Okay, everything this material world. If I get this vegetables, if I get this flower, if I get this fruit, all this is provided by Krishna. And this faith we should have. Generally, there is a problem that how one person can do everything. Krishna don't have to do anything. His energies are doing, right? So this material world is also his energy. So it belongs to him. So he is doing. He is the indirect doer, but he is the doer. Right? So if I get vegetables, I get milk, I get everything, that is Krishna. Coming from Krishna. So this is very difficult to act, difficult to digest, you can say. So the faith is the problem. So those who don't have faith, they will not do bhakti, though it is easy. And then Krishna starts power, right? And then he explains, like, may he give some example of air and ether. Hmm. Then in the 9.5, there is very nice, important point is detachment. Krishna says, I am doing everything, but I'm not in that. How he is not in that? By detachment. Because he says, I am not interested in those things. I just do those things. So I am detached. So I don't exist in that. What does it mean? I don't exist in that means those things don't bind Krishna. So Krishna says, okay, then Arjuna says, okay, I can see everything. What happens when everything is finishing, destruction? Then Krishna tells his inconceivable in power of Prakriti energy, consisting of three modes. It's always very difficult to comprehend and difficult to imagine what is this actually Prakriti and this energy, right? Because we are used to see the gross things, right? Then only we understand. But these three modes and the energy of those three modes is all subtle. It's invisible to eyes. You can experience that, but you cannot see mode of goodness, mode of passion. You cannot see. You can experience that. So that is the wonderful quality of the superior energies. So this material energy, we say it is less inferior, but it is not inferior for us. It is inferior for Krishna. Okay, Krishna says that is my inferior energy. So we should not confuse that this material energy or whatever is inferior. For us who are in this material energy, it's not inferior. It is very difficult to overcome. So, the concept of Krishna's perspective of looking at the thing and our should be taken uh, by precaution. We should not say it's an inferior energy, so I don't care for it. No, it, this energy has so much power to bind you. Krishna says, I create, I destruct, everything goes into me at the time of destruction. So then immediately question comes, okay, so you are doing so many activities. And you say the jivas are doing activities, that's why they are bound in this material world and they create their own bodies. I am not creating. Krishna is saying, I am not giving them bodies. They they themselves create by who, how? By attachment. Attachment to the results, attachment to everything in that body or whatever. You create karma and you create bodies. So it is done by Jiva, not by Krishna. So uh, Krishna is telling that I am into everything, but I am not there. So like As example, like the prime minister is there, so all the country is working under his rule, okay, his direction. But it does not make it necessary that he is the prime minister of India. So in one small village, you will see every day the president. No, it's not required. He has energies. He has different governments, different peoples who manage that, right? The same way Krishna says, this is my inconceivable energy, Arjuna. I maintain everything, I create everything, I support everything, but still I am not in that because I am not attached. So this is important point that the bondage comes from attachment, and that is what we do. We are attached, so we have bandage. How can we understand the bondage? Bondage means like if you cross way, bind by some ropes or something, right? But how we are bound by attachment, we can see like if there is, I have a dress or I have a shirt which I like very much. So indirectly I'm attached to it. So if by mistake something spills on that shirt, I get angry. Who has done this? Why this shirt got dirty? Now I cannot wear this. What is this lamentation coming, misery coming? It's coming because of our attachment into that particular shirt. Uh, So it's not only bondage of um, soul or anything. At material level also we are bound to so many things because of attachment. So Krishna says this attachment and this bondage is the reason why the jivas go from one body to another body. And then Krishna tells you this creation, destruction also work under my direction. It's created by my energy. uh, and that is my inconceivable power. So then question comes, then why some people accept you? Okay, those who have faith, they accept you. Those who don't have faith, they don't accept. So what happens if I don't agree on your supremacy of bhakti and all? So then Krishna says they fail in their all endeavors. So what are the endeavors? Jnani trying the liberation. Uh, Karmi trying to have the heavenly planets, hmm? Or Karma Mishra Bhakti people, they want some type of mukti and go into Vaikuntha and all. But Krishna says, no, that will not happen if you don't have faith and you don't accept my human form because you don't have faith. Then no, it's not possible. You fail in that. And then Krishna starts talking about people who accept his human form. So that is what they are accepting, his supremacy and accepting the power of bhakti. So what happens? They come under my protection and they attain a divine nature. Their nature changes from a materialistic gross level to divine nature, and then they start worshipping me with complete faith. And this is where the Krishna is actually talking about the most secret knowledge, the bhakti, that the devotee starts doing his bhakti. So how he does bhakti? By singing, by dancing, by associating with devotees. So here Krishna gives the information of the topmost knowledge or the topmost bhakti. As I said, you can use the word bhakti and knowledge as a replacement for each other in this chapter. So highest knowledge means you get highest bhakti. What is that? Kevala bhakti. So here you are just singing about Lord. Uh, uh, you are talking about God. You are associating with devotees of the God. You are cooking for Lord. So what is happening? Everything for Lord. Nothing else. Even if I study the powers of Lord. I don't go into studying some formula or something. No, that is also knowledge, but that's different. I am not interested in that. Rather, I am interested in to understand, okay, what is Krishna's this type of power? What is Krishna that type of power? How he does that? That is my interest. So it is bhakti, right? So, of course, for survival, we have to do job and we have to do different types of um, knowledge acquiring. But that's a different thing. But that does not come in bhakti because that we have to. There is another ways of applying that knowledge so that it becomes a little bit bhakti. So that is different. But here Krishna is talking about keval bhakti. Right? So I suppose like till 14th verse, Krishna came to the point of importance of keval bhakti. First is no envy. Second is uh, faith, and believing his power of bhakti and believing his human form is the supreme form. So like these 4 or 5 types of qualifications, he says like if you have this, then you do the keval bhakti by singing and talking about me. So we can judge our situation, right? We Maharaj and all these highly higher consciousness people, they can do 24 hours this thinking about Krishna, talking about Krishna, conversing about Krishna, giving lectures about Krishna, or if nothing, then japa. And they only do activities which are related to Krishna. We are not. We are doing so many other activities also. But slowly, we have to understand that okay, this Keval Bhakti is the thing that we have to. Maybe not immediately, it will take some time, but it should be possible, right? Because Arjuna was the warrior, but still he was doing the pure bhakti, Keval Bhakti, on the war front. So that means we should be able to do our this Keval Bhakti in our job and all those things. Okay, so that is what I understand this in this first 14 verses. I talked on 14 because here Krishna talked about the pure bhakti, avyayam, so sukham, different properties. And if you see, like you all mentioned, it's the 9 angas of bhakti, right? Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu. Shravanam, Kirtanam, Padasevanam, Archanam, Dasam. So this is pure devotional service. And now, I suppose in the next from next verse he talks about different types of bhaktis. Then again he comes to the point that why the Keval Bhakti is the topmost and how it is done. Okay, thank you very much. This is my, you can say, analysis, or you can say summary, whatever, of this slokas, possibilities. Thank you, Hare Krishna. Any comments or questions? Anything? We have some time.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so
Hare
much for
Krishna.
explaining. And, just I want to know about the material nature. Material nature is the inferior energy of Krishna, but it is very wonderful, creating everything, and it is making us to under the mode of nature always. Although we have used to do bhakti also, we are not able to do it. Why is he not allowing to approach Krishna? I don't know. Could you please explain about this, the material nature? It is giving for us to enjoy this material world more and more to becoming bad. Of course, if we are like that, I'm feeling. Why it is are not allowing to approach Krishna? It is binding us. Please explain.
Yeah, it's actually like the material nature itself is not doing anything. Okay. Material nature exists. So like the house is existing, the road is existing, the trees are there, the moon is there, stars are there, air is there, water, everything exists. They are not doing anything. Okay. So in the previous chapter, Krishna told, like, what is the problem? Problem is the jiva and the desires. That is the problem that we have. The material nature does not have. In this chapter also, Krishna tells like how this is created again. This prakriti, okay, you maintain it. At the time of destruction, it goes again into you. Then how it is created? So Krishna tells it creates under my direction or my will. But how the jivas are created? Jivas are created by their own actions and own bondage and karma. So point is like this Prakriti, the material nature, the main thing is three modes, right? Sattva, Rajas, Tama. So we are in different modes at every moment. And then mostly many times we have passion. So we want to create, we want to fight, we want to do something, some actions, like Mataji saying, actions, right? The soul cannot be steady. So in this body, it cannot be steady. So either I do something, if nothing is there physically, I start doing activities mentally. What do? We think about what happened yesterday, what happened day before yesterday, how the last person treated me, how what will happen in the future. So what we do? We start thinking. So this way, material nature itself is there, but it has tremendous power. So one is we have desires in different modes, different gunas. So that we get attached to it, and then we create our bodies and we create our karma. And through that karma, we get bodies. So option is what Krishna is telling, that okay, material nature is there, but if you have proper faith, and if you accept the power of bhakti, if you accept my form, then what happens? You come under my divine nature. That is shloka number 30. Right? Mahatma nastu mam partha devim prakriti mashrita. You attain the devim prakriti. And then you can do bhakti. So, material nature is powerful because it has that energy into it to bind us and to get, and we have ignorance, so we get attached to it. If we understand that this material nature actually is nothing, there is nothing in this material world that can give me pleasure or whatever whatsoever, then actually we start detachment. But that is not our stage. So material nature is created. So Krishna says that I didn't create for myself this nature. I created it for you. You means who? The jivas. We. We wanted to enjoy all these things, so he created. And he created different forms, different ways. So because he knows that jiva at the time of death or in this lifetime, he will create some more desires. And because he is perfect and is maintaining everyone, he knows what type of desires will come. So he creates those facilities in nature. So I think, Mataji, this is what I can tell about.
Yes, very nice. I understood very well. Because of the modes we are acting in such a way, also we are having the desire. The desire and the mood making us to act in this way. Okay,
Correct.
thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
By knowledge, we can, how to say, make ourselves. Correcting the self. Thank you, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. The secret knowledge of soul and body, or best is the most secret knowledge by bhakti. We can overcome that.
Yeah, yes. Thank you. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you. Any other
Thank you
comment?
so much, Prabhuji.
Thank you. Yeah.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Just one thing that I just thought of sharing in this moment. In some places, it used to be like in text, or when somebody even gives a lecture, they say just chant Hare Krishna and be happy. I used to wonder like why that word just used to come. But as I read through Bhagavad Gita, like I understand like just is like this is the bare minimum that you have to do. That's it. That is like also the maximum that you have to do sincerely to attain. So I got that word like just. I kind of started understanding the meaning of why they're using that word over there. Thank you so much for your wonderful explanation, Prabhuji.
No, just also has like one more, like just is also like you said, there's only chant, right? So when we say only chant, just chant means you don't think of other things while chanting. So only chant. Okay, that part is also there. And other is like only chant means only focus on bhakti. And don't focus on jnana and karma and ashtanga and all those things.
Right.
So that also is one way of taking just chant.
Right.
So there are different ways based on the situation, but it's a reminder in each situation that we have to just chant, not focus on other things.
Right, Prabhuji.
Yeah. Okay. Any other?
Hare Krishna. I was just thinking, Prabhuji, that like as Krishna Bhakti is very like it's mentioned that it's very easy, but uh, since I am like I'm into the family where where I am the only person like my husband is supporting, but everyone is materialistic. So I was thinking that until and unless devotees' mercy is there, this Krishna's devotion is really really very difficult, I feel.
Yeah, the challenges are difficult. Bhakti is easy, challenges are difficult to overcome. Right? So, susukam, Krishna says it is susukam, can be easily done. Right? So, if you think
Yes.
of knowledge, right, if you want to do jnana, that is more difficult with family responsibilities,
Right,
and
right, right.
because you cannot sit for 3 hours and study. No possible. You cannot meditate for 4 hours. Cannot do yoga for 6 hours. That is more difficult.
Yes.
But at least if you take up bhakti, at least you can chant, at least you can read 5 minutes. Right? We are discussing, so we are associating. So that way it is still easy, I think. Okay,
Yes, yes, yes.
it is very easy. uh, I heard this line. Easy but difficult to do bhakti.
Yes.
So that is the but still, if you look at those situations, right, that we have around us, but when we say bhakti is difficult, what we forget is Krishna in Bhagavad Gita, his first 6 chapter, he's telling jnana and all those things. Then he's telling bhakti, and then he's saying sukham. Uh, So whenever we feel that, okay, for me it is very difficult because there is no devotee around me and there is no one who is interested in Krishna or talking about Krishna, that is what we immediately think. Right? But we have to go a little bit beyond that. Okay, there is nobody interested in Krishna, but if I want in this situation, if I want to do jnana or if I want to do karma or if I want to do ashtanga, that is more difficult in this
Mm-hmm.
situation. But at least bhakti, I can chant. That becomes bhakti. Right? So that way, it is still easy. I suppose. Okay, means at least if you tell that I chant 1.5 hours, I chant 2 hours. That is my sadhana. Even if they don't believe, they don't have faith, when they sleep, we can chant. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So at least that is there, right? And then
I mean, sorry, you complete. Sorry,
no,
please
no, go ahead.
continue.
No, go ahead.
No, no, I was just thinking that who is into Krishna consciousness, for them, yes, it's easy. I but if someone is new and he is completely materialistic, then for them it's difficult, I guess. I was mentioning that.
Yeah, so that is also true. So okay, it is the other way around. Means you are thinking about the people who are materialistic, right? That's the type of
Yes.
compassion we have,
Yes.
right, for them. But yeah, then see, Krishna says, right, there is different level of people with different level of consciousness. So those who are materialistic, they are karma kanda people, and Krishna says,
Yes.
yes, those type of people are there. And Krishna tells in Bhagavad Gita, yeah, they do the work and they get results and they enjoy higher planets. So Krishna accept them. So it's okay.
Mm.
They are paid. And they are at that level of consciousness. But Krishna has made arrangements for them also. Right? If they do good karma,
Mm.
they will get good destination. Right? And higher planets or whatever. So Krishna has arranged for them also. Of course, we should have the compassion for them that um, they should do bhakti and they should aim for superior goal. That is good, but if they cannot, that is to their level of consciousness. That's fine, and they are happy
Mm.
with it. So if they are happy in that, we should be happy in that. Okay, You do? No problem. Slowly. Because what was that verse? Which chapter is that verse? We should not, third chapter or fourth chapter, we should not stop them or,
Yes, yes,
no, but we should encourage them into engaging this. Right?
yes, yes.
So there we have to follow that rule, I think. That way.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji.
It's okay. Yeah. Okay, Deska. Thank you very
Thank you
much.
so much, Prabhuji, for
Thank you.
explaining in detail.
No problem. So in the next week, let us complete this chapter because it is different type of bhakti and then Kaval bhakti. It should go in flow. That is easier, I suppose. So let's try to complete. I think remaining it's up to 34, right? So 20 verses we can take next week. Okay, thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Thank you.
Thank you, Prabhuji.